that by design?
Just how it came out. So when they're open, we throw them. Our defense does a great job of disguising shells, holding it to the last minute. That was kind of indicative of last camp too. It's hard to push the ball down when you got two safeties deep starting the play. So you got to find your one-on-one matchups at times. Sometimes it happens in short yardage, where teams will play a little bit more man, but the efficiency was there and good completions, moving the ball. So that part was really good.
Dave, who surprised you this week?
I don't know. I have high expectations for the guys. I'm just proud of the rookie group as a whole. I think that this is one of the best rookie groups I've been around in terms of their attention to detail, their study habits, their body prep. They're doing things that 6, 7, 8-year veterans do before and after practice. They're curious. It's a curious bunch. I kind of try to encourage them. Like, the best teams are the curious teams. Let's find out how good we can be. Let's find out more about what we're doing. And so I've just been really impressed with this rookie group as a whole.
Yeah, yesterday it seemed like the offense made a lot of plays. Today it seemed like the defense made a lot of plays. To have kind of consecutive practices where they go back and forth, how important is that from a tone-setting standpoint as you go into the break?
It's great. The nature of competition, that's what it is. How do you respond to adversity? We got the gift of watching the Pacers and OKC play and go back and forth, and you see the guys, you see the energy all the way through it, and so I love seeing the response. And it just makes everything, you got to be that much sharper. You got to be, that much cleaner in your technique, and that's where you start to separate, is the details, the fundamental execution, because the talent is so good right now with our group that part can go back and forth. So I love the challenge of it.
What did you think of Bryce's just decision-making and command of what you guys are trying to do as he enters year 2 under this system?
Excellent. I think the pace of our offensive development and evolution is growing at the pace of Bryce, and he's showing such great mastery of what we're doing that he's allowing us to really push the envelope and do more things.
Coach, on the running back group, solid 1 and 2 at the depth. After a lot of running back with wide receiver skills, how is Blackshear's attitude entering break for the camp?
He's ready. Open competition, and the thing that Raheem has is he's a fantastic kick returner. He can return kickoffs and punts, with a few more that are going to happen this year with the scheme change and kickoff. He's going to get those opportunities too, so that gives him an advantage. So, Trevor's got all of his work cut out for him as well, so it's a great competition in there.
Dave, what kind of message do you send these guys out of here with, and is it different than what you told them this time a year ago?
Same message. It's, the biggest thing that they have to realize is your vacation was after the season. You had 3 months off. We're in a ramp now to training camp, so with these 5 weeks, you have a week of kind of reloading. Then you got to just kick back up into your training and build off of the strength and the fitness that we have right now. We have a very fit team right now to be able to have a several move the ball experience right here on our last day for the guys to handle that. Tells us that we have a strong and fit group. We got to keep it that way. So that was my biggest message, is readiness for camp. You can't count on camp to get you in shape. The nature of it, the mandatory days off. We have to be able to take advantage of every single practice.
Do you think, do you want them to get away at all, or would you rather they just kind of stay? I know you want to stay focused, but is there part of you that's also like, no, you got to get away? How do you kind of?
Yeah, I don't see it different than the off-season program in that we work 4 days a week. You got 3-day weekends. So it's within reason for guys who, even during the spring, some of them would take they would leave Thursday night, go see family, come back and be ready to go for practice again. And so that was my message to them, is just keep the same rhythm going. There's plenty of time to go and connect with friends, connect with family, see some cool places. But the consistency of where you work out matters. The resources we have here in the building for regen after practice, you have to be able to find a home base to come back to, so that's been the message.
You mentioned the younger guys having that knowledge and being able to take care of their bodies. In years past, was that more of a concern where you were worried about guys being able to take care of their body? And as that sort of, kinesiology and that sort of knowledge becomes more and more prevalent, is that less of a concern for you?
I think I feel the same amount of concern, just because, you think about these guys, they finished their season, they probably rested for a little bit, and then they start training for 40-yard dashes. They were training for shuttles, a lot of physical testing. So there was some football-specific stuff to the drills that they might do at a pro day or combine. But this type of training is different. This is football performance practice training for the games. So this will be the first time we won't have them to be able to continue that type of training. So my concern level is always high, especially for the young guys who haven't had a chance to do it. So the coaches this week met with each guy and tell me your agenda, tell me what you're doing. We can't call them and make them do it. We just wanted to, while we have them, tell us your plan. And so that if there's some red flags, maybe we can help them, our strength staff, our training staff, nutrition staff, to be able to give them some tools going into the summer.
Dave, I know he's still limited in what he's able to do out there, but just what does it do for the defense and some of the young guys, especially to see Derek Brown out there in uniform kind of going through some of the stuff with the guys?
Yeah, what I love about Derek, Turk, Bobby, Ashawn, these guys are constantly talking in between individual drills during the walkthrough. So these guys are surrounded by men who have done this for a while, played in this scheme, and so it's huge. It's huge for them to see Derek, even though he's was limited to walk through this past week, to see how he moves and stunts, to see how he fits the runs and plays off of blocks. It's really critical.
Dave, staying on the defensive line,
Yeah.
Turk comes in here and he talks about how he was playing out of position a lot in Kansas City. You invested in him as a nose tackle of sorts. Is that what you're seeing? Are you seeing the dividends that you were expecting to see at least early on?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's got versatility. So he's played all across that line. When you play with a guy like Chris Jones, he's going to get the premier looks for rushes. So Turk a lot of times was having to battle, off of some of the things that Chris was getting opportunities to, but then he also took advantage of some one-on-one opportunities when they're sliding to Chris, And so here, Turk gets to be a feature of what we're doing, and he's really stout in the run game. He's got rush. I just love his versatility and all the things that we're going to be able to do with him.
You mentioned the OKC Pacing Game. Was that something you happened to catch, or did you mention that to the guys as an example this morning?
We've been following the NBA playoffs, and the thing that I keep talking to the guys about and pointing to is look at the teams that play together. Look at the teams that talk on the bench. When they come off, there's an exchange that happens. When the coach addresses them, they got their full attention. They make those micro adjustments, and that's great team play, And then look at the teams that finish. Turnovers are just as important. They show the stats on TV. 21 points off turnovers versus 7. Those types of things matter to us too. So it's such a gift in the spring while we're practicing, working on our game, to point to the things that lead to success in these playoffs. The teams that finish, you see the Pacers in the last 5 minutes of the game last night. The defense was suffocating. The hustle plays, their energy never stopped, and OKC didn't meet them that day. So I'm sure we'll see a response on Friday. But I love just learn those lessons and look at the championship teams and how they do it.
Are y'all watching them as a team, or y'all
Yeah,
watching the games as a team?
we'll watch the highlights, and I'll try to catch some of the TV copies of those interpersonal dynamics that are happening. Signs of great teams, these teams that play together and talk, and that doesn't mean they all made it to the championships, but the ones that did, they're in constant communication, and Halliburton and SGA, they're constantly talking to guys about defense, where to be at when they got the ball, so all those micro adjustments are so huge.
So who do you like the rest of the series?
I just want teams to play up to their full potential. So I don't like when I see a team, what they can do, and they're just not achieving it. That's my goal for us. That's what I want to see. I want to see both teams playing at their best.
How difficult would you envision those last couple wide receiver spots being in training camp?
I think it's going to be very difficult. I think that we're going to have to take it through the preseason games and see who can help us. And special teams is going to be such a huge piece of that puzzle. How can these guys help us in the coverage units? Can they help us as a returner? Those things that added value, if it's even the special teamer, makes the team. And so that's the part where we get to challenge our guys, find a role, take this thing seriously. You're not here just to catch passes. We only get so many helmets on game day, so we need all of you. We need you guys to contribute in different ways.